Welcome to the Undergang Armchair. All right, greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of the Undergang Armchair podcast. I am your host, Ondo, pronounced O-N-D-O, spelled A-N-D-O. This show today is brought to you by... No, I'm just kidding. There's no advertising. Actually, fuck it. Yes, there is. This show is brought to you by the Undergang Armchair apps. You can get it on the Amazon store and in the App Store for iOS. You can find links to that on our website. They are the sponsors of this show. Actually, if you want to help the show out, that would be great. Get the app. You'll get the newest episodes straight to your phone or iPod. It'll be great. We have a great show for you guys this week. It's a rerun because everything is crazy, but it's one of the best talks we've had so far. It's with the great Jonathan Meese, the German artist, and he really bequeathed an amazing intelligence, tenacity, and engagement, which was really inspiring. What do we got in terms of news? I'm going traveling in a little bit. Got a lot going on. I have to throw in the towel and say next week there will be no show. I'm going to be out of town, and I'm out there doing the good work. I'm fighting the fight. Hope you guys are cheering me on. But we'll be back the following week with an excellent episode we're looking forward to. Don't forget that if you're here in Copenhagen, Culture Night is here on Friday. There's all sorts of cool stuff. I can definitely recommend the Kingdom Hospital, Rigshospitalet. You can learn how to sew up a cut and all sorts of cool stuff. So I won't be in town, unfortunately, but it's usually a good time. You can also check out the jail and, basically any institution. You've always been like, what goes on in there? They're open. You can go check it out. So grab a nice coat, your hip flask, whatever you got to do, and go out there and check it out. It's good. All right, that's it. I'm off. Enjoy the mad genius of Jonathan Meese. And you can learn something. Old dogs can learn new tricks. Enjoy. All right. I'm all set up here. I'm at Gallery Bolpiago in a little side room. There's a huge vase, some paintings. There's a huge Pierre Kirkeby painting. And I'm waiting for the arrival of the man of the hour, Jonathan Meese.
There we go.
Sorry, I just had to do a little bit. You're on time. It's good. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Do you want anything to drink or anything before you start?
I'm okay. Where would you like to sit?
I don't care. As you like. As you like.
You can sit in the armchair then if you want to do that.
Okay.
Man, it's a lot of work having this show.
Absolutely.
Talking.
Did you go through?
No, I'm going to afterwards. I wanted to be ready.
Okay.
Oh man. So you've just been doing interview after interview after interview?
Not so many. No, I just did one interview now, and yesterday I did longer interview
with Louisiana.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard about that.
That was okay.
Oh,
that's
thank you very much.
Super. And I should talk in English, or
yes. I don't speak German.
Your English is better than mine, I think, but that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I saw the Louisiana video you guys did, and that was really interesting. I liked it. But we can go way back. I kind of want to start in the beginning. You grew up in Hamburg?
I was born in Japan.
Ah, wild.
1970, and the first 3 years I stayed in Japan, kindergarten. And then 1973, my mother, me, my sister, and my brother, we went back to Germany.
Do you speak Japanese?
No, unfortunately not. But I only spoke Japanese when I was 2 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So somewhere in your brain, maybe it's there.
Sure. I'm a samurai in my brain and in art, and somehow it is there.
Right. It has to be connected somehow.
Absolutely. I love Japanese food. I every week have to go to my favorite Japanese restaurant in Hamburg because of the taste and the visual aspect of the food.
Oh yeah, they bring it to an art level. They really, really focus on that. I went through a tour of Japan last year, and it was amazing. It's so beautiful. But so you grew up in Hamburg. Do you still live in Hamburg?
We have a flat in Hamburg, Mommy and me. But I'm normally in Berlin. I have my big studio, my atelier in Berlin, and also my house where I live.
Right.
So with my girlfriend.
Right. And would you say? I was kind of laughing about it. I don't know much about Hamburg. I know it has a kind of a close relationship to Denmark. But what do people from, let's say, Munich say about people from Hamburg? Because I know everywhere I go, there's always some sort of fight between the south and the north or the east and the west.
I think they would say maybe the people in Hamburg are more reserved and a little more quiet.
More Scandinavian in a way.
Yeah, more relaxed.
Yeah.
But of course, the people in Munich are so friendly and so wonderful. And
I hear they're more southern. They're open and they're loud and they like to talk and
exactly. And the food is very heavy and strong. And, and you have the beer halls and all these wonderful aspects and rooms.
Yeah. What? Okay, so I did do a little research. I don't usually do a lot because I want it to be more conversational. But you went to art school in Hamburg.
Yes.
You didn't know what to do.
Exactly.
And then you decided to go to art school.
Yes.
And then it said, boom.
Yeah.
Everything started happening. But after you were done with school, I know you left. You decided you were done.
Yes.
How did you take the step then? Like, what happened next? How did you become a working artist? Because there's a big difference between art students and working artists.
Exactly. I was lucky that during my studies, I was somehow picked by a gallery. That was in 1998. But already in 1995, I knew that I would not finish the art school. I just wanted to stay as long as possible. I thought maybe till 2000 or 2001, which then actually happened because I was exmatriculated then in the end. But then 1998, I was somehow having my first shows officially through the gallery and in the Berlin Biennial. And then it started. And then I didn't go to school anyhow.
Right. Well, you start learning more from the real world at a certain point.
Yes.
Art school, I'm actually an art school dropout myself. And at a certain point it becomes too expensive, both in terms of time and mental energy, but also effort. You can learn more out in the real world by actually working.
Exactly. And that's what always happened to me. I was somehow pushed and dropped into something.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what an art school is till I was 23. I was not interested in art before I was 22. I didn't even know what it was. For me, drawing was drawing. And then I suddenly understood, okay, drawing is also art and painting. And I was somehow, always with a big naivete, went into the future.
Right. Just did it.
Just did it.
No thinking.
No thinking.
Just
not
all
too
heart.
much. Yes. Stomach and heart.
Right.
Instinct. Go.
Right.
Go for it.
Right. Has that changed now?
No.
Are you interested in art? Do you look at other artists? Do you read about art? Are you interested in criticism of art? Any of that stuff?
I read a lot. I have thousands of art books. I just bought now, lately, 5,000 art books. And I'm surrounded by all this. I don't go so often to museums or to openings. I'm too afraid. I like to stay at home and stay in my atelier.
What are you afraid of?
Of the people.
So it's just general shyness. You don't want to go out and see the crowds.
Yeah.
But you could go out the day after when nobody's there.
Yeah. Sometimes I do it. But sometimes I'm stressed also by the situation. You have to go buy a ticket, you have to go inside, then you feel insecure, watched.
Right.
I like to look at art in books. I prefer also in television or in internet. That's fine for me.
Does it relate to you though, or is it just because you're interested? Do you look at other art and say, "Oh, that's a good idea," or "That's interesting," or
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so you have developed an interest in art, you could say.
Totally.
Yeah.
I get impulse and I look through a book about Cézanne and suddenly I think, wow, why not paint a mountain or something?
Right.
Yeah, or a certain color appears in Van Gogh,
Right.
a yellow or lila. These things.
Right.
This influences me a lot.
That makes sense, though, because you do seem to be very interested in the world. Your work is always pulling from history, from culture, from magazines, from all this stuff. So I guess you're just looking at everything. It's not just art.
I collect newspapers, porn magazines, history books. I collect dolls. I collect hats. I collect weapons, everything. I'm a total freak collector.
Is it hard to keep track of it all?
Yes. I have a huge, tremendous, enormous storage.
Right.
And my mother takes care of it, and friends. I have space enough to show this also, or to have access.
Right.
It's important.
Right.
I cannot throw anything away. I have thousands of books.
Do you spend a lot of time just shopping? Looking for things? I shouldn't say shopping, but I mean like searching, exploring for items.
Yeah. Especially in the past, I went to all the flea markets, I went to all the shops. Now I order a lot in internet, books.
Right.
At least, let's say, 20 books a week.
Wow.
At least.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm more or less more at home. I like to work in the hermetic space of my atelier.
Right.
I love that.
And that helps you stay focused?
Yes.
And kind of, live. I mean, because I would say your work lives in its own world.
Yes.
And so that would be reflected in the way that you work also.
Absolutely. It's a dream world that is created. And hopefully this dream world or anti-reality, this other reality takes over.
Mm-hmm. So what about when you have to go into the world? Because part of being an artist is eventually having to leave your hole. And you have to come here. You have to hang pictures on the wall. You have to shake hands. You have to talk with people. Like, you don't have to, but people want to talk to you tonight, tomorrow night. People are going to come. They're going to want to see your work and everything. Then your anti-reality is shattered in a way.
Yes.
Is that hard?
It's hard, but here, of course, I'm in this in-between world.
Right.
The gallery is a safe place.
True.
It's dedicated to art, so it's dedicated to the other reality. It's Niemandsland, no man's land.
Right.
And it's also my world that I can represent, or the world of art, not my world, because this is not my world. Also, these paintings are not mine. They belong to themselves.
Right.
But this is a hard thing for me and starts to be harder and harder. And I can only do this, let's say, every 2, 3, 4 months I want a show, not more.
Because you need time to be in the anti-reality.
Yeah. And I'm more and more tired. In the beginning I did 10 performances a year, 20. Now I can do 2.
Right.
And especially not in front of people. I do now more private performances that somebody films it and I put it on the internet or I press a DVD.
Right.
I want to do my things more in the secure space that I have the strength to continue.
Right.
The reality sucks away so much strength.
I think there's a lot to be said about that, and there's a lot to be said about artists who are always on the internet and they're constantly outside. They're not inside, and they're just, like I will tell young artists, focus on what you do.
Yes. Stop
Stop the world, go for a week and stare at the wall, or whatever you have to do to forget everything else because it becomes too much.
Yeah. You are trapped. Reality traps you and sucks away the energy. Art is not the problem. The reality is the problem.
Right.
I'm always strong in my atelier. I've never been weak there because there is nothing weak in an atelier or in a safe place of art or on stage. There's nothing weakening.
Right.
Only reality weakens you.
Right. What about the rest of the world that's not the art world? Going to the grocery store and, I don't know, going to the car mechanics or whatever you have to do in daily life. Is that draining?
It's sometimes tough, but if it's friendly, it's okay.
Right.
It has to be fast and precise. Often people help me in this. I mean, I'm not a freak, I can buy a milk, I have no problem. I go in the supermarket, I can go on an airplane and go somewhere else, but I prefer to be in the total room and space of art.
Right.
And but that's of course in nature. When you go into the nature, that's art.
Right.
Nature has no ideology, no political situation, not left wing, not right wing.
No reason to be there, it just is.
Yeah. And that's art. It's metabolism, evolution. The only thing that is not art is bad adult thoughts. Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. Bad adult thoughts.
Yes.
What about bad children's thoughts?
They are evolutionary. They are not bad.
Right.
They are
fantastical in a way.
Yeah, they are fantastical.
Yeah.
Only adults create ideologies, separate things, say I'm left wing, I'm right wing, I'm voting this party, I'm this and that religious.
Right.
These children don't say.
No.
They don't know about it.
Right. Life is too fluid still in a lot of ways.
Exactly. There's one between 12 and 18, something changes in you.
Right. And I feel like you spend a lot of the time as an adult trying to forget those changes or trying to, because you want to, it's just that problem of like, you want to be nice to everybody you meet, but some people are evil.
Yes.
Some people are evil. And what you have to protect yourself to some degree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sure.
Yeah.
And in art you can trust.
Right.
Yeah, I totally trust the power of art. Mm-hmm. And of course I trust also the people, but you are right, they are evil people or evil influences. And especially many people don't want art or don't want the dream world, don't want the vision.
Right.
Yeah, they want pure reality. They want reality wars.
Right, that it's negative in order to leave the world or to leave reality.
Exactly. And for them, we are also dangerous sometimes.
Right.
Because we are the people who think differently, who think from the future.
Right. And have some sort of strange relationship to the world that's so important to them.
Exactly. 100%.
I have an example of that. I had an uncle who was very religious, and when I went to art school, he just looked at me and he goes, "Art school, huh?" He had he could not understand in his mind that A, there was a school for that, and B, anyone would ever choose to do that. Why would you do that, But I appreciate that tension.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like art needs some tension. I mean, I assume it's not all fun for you when you're in your studio, too. There must be fights. There must be something you're fighting with, working towards.
Yeah, it is that... Especially nowadays, art should be so smooth and easily accessible and accepted immediately. Right. And I think this is not how it should be. It should create wind against you.
Right.
It has to have hurdles.
Right.
And this nowadays, many young artists do a show and it's waved through. Oh yeah, fine.
Right. Good job.
Good job.
Goodbye.
Yeah. And then good job, goodbye.
Yeah.
And then it's the end.
Yeah.
Because you have to, of course, be criticized.
Right.
And you also have to have a tough time. And the people should not really understand what you are doing, especially not in the beginning.
Right. Well, I think it's hard too to give up, because in a way you have to give up your want to be liked. You have to give up your want to be celebrated.
Yeah.
You have to not care.
Yes.
And that's something I'm struggling with right now. It's like you have to do it for yourself.
Yes.
But I mean, what kind of fights do you have with yourself or with the art in the studio?
In the studio, the fight is always positive. It's a positive war. It's a war of art. It's a fight.
It's development. It's building.
It's evolution, it's metabolism, it's you build up a good tension. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The bad tension or the bad war is what happens to your friends, what happens to all the people you've studied with.
Right.
How are they brainwashed suddenly, or are you brainwashed by reality suddenly, or is success more important than be passionate, or are you suddenly a culture figure? I think that is all problematic. Yeah.
Right. And what does that mean?
Sucked up. Are you sucked up suddenly by society?
Right.
Are you just a puppet of reality suddenly?
Right. Living in the attic until all of a sudden, boom. But I mean, that's an interesting point. You now have been a working artist for 15 years, let's say.
Yes.
How do you manage that? You know, there's a certain amount of acclaim, there's a certain amount of publishing, there's a certain amount of, you know, the whole thing that comes along with it. Is it hard for you to keep your space from that?
Hopefully, and it expands the space of art, and the freedom is hopefully increasing. More freedom of art, and it happens. But of course, you lose many friends in reality, and
that's part of being an adult, I think. You know, because when you're young, it's just so different the way you relate to people and the time you have and all that.
Exactly. But also the art world or the art scene or the culture scene changed.
Right.
It's a wave.
Right.
I think in Berlin it's very bad at the moment.
Like what? And how so? How bad?
It's too much design and not art. Too much industry,
lifestyle.
Not art. Too much lifestyle. Too many parties.
Right.
Too much not being in the atelier. Too much social networking. Too much who knows who. Yeah, this is for especially young artists. This is a horror circle of socialization.
Right. Yeah. It's hard. It's tough because, you know, everyone tells you have to be social. You have to socialize. But that actually takes time away from your work.
Exactly.
That's an absolute, you know, in a way, it's suicide. It's stupid because the less you paint, if you're a painter, the less you're actually an artist.
Exactly.
In a way, right? I mean, but you know, let's say you paint a big picture in your studio. Do you ever finish it, go home, come back the next day and say, fuck this is terrible, and then get rid of it?
Not terrible. This I would never say. I would say, it needs some more.
It's not done.
It's not done. Sometimes I put a painting away for half a year, 1 year, 2 years. Sometimes it's finished immediately.
Is that a gut feeling? Is that your heart and your stomach?
Yes.
You just know it?
No.
You don't have to think about it. You don't have to talk about it?
No. This comes naturally.
Do other people help you?
Sometimes. Sometimes my mother comes and says, hey, this painting looks so beautiful already. Maybe it needs a little red there. And then I think about it. And sometimes I say, yeah, why not? Sometimes I say, no, that's not enough. Or it's even wrong.
Right.
But sometimes people come and help in a nice way. Yeah. There are also people who want to help in a very unnice way, in a very bad way.
Right.
They say, hey, you have to do this and that, so it's sellable, or something like that.
It'll be worth more money that way.
Yeah. And then this you should always resist. You should always say, no, thank you.
Right.
But this happens.
Because it has nothing to do with the piece itself.
Yeah. This is just, this is design. If you want this, that the artist does it exactly how a gallerist wants it, or a museum director wants it, or a collector wants it, okay, this is another business.
Right.
This is something else.
Right.
This is a design, a production machinery.
Right.
I'm not interested in that. Totally not.
Do you ever get mad at well, like you say, it's always positive, but I mean, do you ever feel like you don't know what the next step is?
No, never had that feeling.
It just happens.
It just happens. I never had a problem with a white canvas, never had a problem with a sculpture. You can give me something and I do something.
And after a show is done, you just start on the next thing.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's incredible. I mean, that's the thing you have to fight to hold on to, you know, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, there I'm lucky because I also trust totally in the power of this art, of this anti-reality. And I think we could play with this microphone now. We could make a sculpture. It is already a sculpture. You can make a spot of paint on it and it's finished. Or
it's kind of a beautiful object.
Yeah,
in a way.
And it seems like designed, but you can also transfer it into art very easily. It's no problem.
Right.
Many people have problems with art and not with reality. And that is very strange, I think. Because I think the reality is the problem and art is no problem.
That reminds me a lot of an American author named Tom Robbins. Do you know him?
No.
He's written some really great books, and he is really...
Science fiction?
No, but it's very fantastical. It's very fantastic and wild. And so it's based in reality, but he's very anti-reality. And I just read a great one called Skinny Legs and All, which is about art, religion, history, reasons for making art. It's, but they're very playful and fun and yeah, they're a little science fiction. I mean, there's a talking stick in the book. But it kind of reminds me of that because it's very playful. And I think that people take themselves too seriously and they take their art too seriously.
Yes, exactly.
And I do this. This is something I'm really fighting with right now because, photographers are the worst. What camera is this? How many megapixels does it have? Is the light perfect? There's no more play anymore after that.
Play is the most important. When you stop playing, you are an ideological adult. And this is, you should play.
Right.
And art is the play of total mask. You always wear mask. You pretend to be a politician, you pretend to be a policeman, you pretend to be a slave, you pretend to be bad, you pretend to be good.
Right.
It is not what you are. It's evolutionary. You use the things.
And then you can take the mask off again and try another one.
Yeah. And the adults, they have to decide and say, I am now this and that forever.
Right.
And this is the difference, I think.
It makes perfect sense in a way. I think that... do I wait for that to close? Boom. Uh-oh.
People often lose their joy of playing. They think, wow, now I have to start to be serious.
Now I have to work.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that's the end.
Are you not interested in art that's highly controlled? Let's take, I don't know, Soloist, someone who's very controlled, everything's 90-degree angles, everything's cut and perfect. Does that have no interest to you?
Oh, yes, it has. And I think this is also playful, but in a different way.
Right.
It can be very playful, precise, and a construction.
Right.
Yeah, but it's the construction of the anti-reality.
Right.
It's transformed into something. It can be very precise.
Right.
That's not the point. Also, you can work very long and on a painting. That's also fine.
But you have to see the fun, the anti-reality in it.
Yes. And never try to illustrate the reality. Many people nowadays, artists, want to make a picture, make an illustration of reality, but that's already there.
Right.
We have to fight reality.
Right.
And that's not enough to just illustrate what you have around.
Right.
Because that's too simple. And then you are too nostalgic. Then you say yes to reality. No, it has to be future.
Always looking ahead.
Always looking ahead.
Never
accept the cultural situation you are living in. Never accept the political situation you are in. Never. Never say yes.
In terms of art or in terms of life? Or in terms of both?
In terms of both. Never accept.
Are you involved in the are you politically involved? Are you protesting? Are you anything like that?
I'm against every political construction.
Right.
I'm against every religion. I'm against every esoteric system. I'm against every possible spiritual system. I'm against every magical system. I'm for evolution.
Right. Yeah. But I guess what you're talking about is that everything that's happening now needs to be left behind.
Yes.
Always needs to be left behind.
Exactly.
But you have a lot of history in your work. You talk a lot about German history,
yes,
etc. But is that your way of leaving it behind?
Yes.
That's
exactly.
your way of taking it and tearing it up,
yes,
and saying goodbye.
Yes.
Is it specifically German history or is it world history? I know those two things are connected. It's just a border.
It's all history, but of course, you always have to take the most radical stuff and then go from that into the future.
Right.
Yeah, and German history is and was very radical, and you can see a lot in it.
There's a lot, there's a lot of symbols and there's a lot of very human qualities.
You have to free the symbols from symbolism.
Right.
Yeah, from magic, because a symbol is not magic. This is just projection.
Right.
Yeah, it's not voodoo. Art is not voodoo. Yeah, there are people who believe that there are bad books or bad symbols, but this is just a projection. This is just invention.
Because it's all human touch.
Human touch, human made.
Right.
Also, there are no bad animals.
Right.
There are no
evil.
criminals.
There's no evil animals.
No. A shark is not evil.
Right. Well, what do you think about evil? Is there no such thing as evil, or is it a human idea?
Yes. I think only ideology is evil. Everything that is not ideological is not evil.
So greed is not evil, for example?
Greed, if it's ideological, then it's evil.
Because I think it's a normal human function to be greedy.
Yeah.
It's winter's coming. We need to eat lots of food.
That's totally fine. That's not ideological.
No, that's just natural.
If you not organize this greediness,
right.
if you are not saying, hey, I form a political party of greediness,
right.
then you are organized, then you are ideological.
But is a bank an ideological, greedy institution?
No, not necessarily.
No.
A bank as an object cannot be ideological. It's an object.
Right. Well, okay, let's talk about the group of people who work at a bank.
Possibly, they are ideological. Possibly. But they can also not be.
Right.
Yeah. But these are the hard questions.
They are, and it's hard to kind of figure out. Do you write at all? Do you ever write down these ideas?
Sure. I do a lot of manifests. Art is this, art is that, art is not art. Art is no ideology. Art is no religion. Art is no organization.
Are you angry at all?
Sure. I'm angry about reality.
Fuck the world in a way.
Yeah.
But we can't give up anyways.
No.
That's the hard part. That's the hard part with saying fuck the world. That's the hard part with anarchist ideology and all that stuff, because it's just, well, I guess I'll sit here and drink beer then. Sometimes that's fine, but if you give up, that's also not nice. To give up is not good. All right, what kind of life is that?
Yeah. If you don't want to work or do your duty or do what you're passionate in, this would be terrible, I think.
Well, I mean, what if you never found art? You obviously found your passion. You found the thing which drives you and is the fire.
Yes.
People sometimes don't find what it is that they're passionate about.
That's then very sad. But it can be your passion to do cooking or to do, and then it's art. Right. If it's total passion, to drive a car can also be very passionate.
Sure.
And if you do it with love and passion, then it's art.
Well, I think finding whatever it is you love to do has to be a positive thing.
Yes.
You have to take a step into whatever it is. So, I mean, like you decided one day, I want to draw a picture. That's all it was. But you took a step forward at that point. Yeah. If you didn't take a step forward, nothing would have happened.
Exactly.
Were you sad in your life before you found this? Or did you just not know what you were doing?
Maybe I was a little melancholic at that time, but I was more a dreamer.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, and I took my time, and my mother said, you take your time. And I tried a few things out. Right. I noticed that was not what I wanted to do. My mother wanted me to do economics and go into this direction, but it was not my style somehow. It was not...
Well, she's of the generation which really was concerned about making a living.
Exactly. And my father was more or less a banker, and my brother was also into economics. Nobody of us was in art.
Right. It wasn't a possibility, really.
No, it was not. For me, art in school times, in gymnasium, was like chemistry or math. I even dropped it.
It was just a subject.
It was just a subject. Nothing I was interested in.
Right.
Nothing I felt comfortable with.
Right. Well, we have a very limited amount of time. I just want to ask you one more thing. What's your mother's role? I mean, you keep talking about your mother, and is she your partner in this?
She's somehow the one that supported me from the beginning, from my birth on. Right. But of course, in art, she's the one who knows the most, who always supported me and followed it and loved it.
And knows best, really.
Knows best.
Yeah.
Knows best. Except me, she knows even maybe more. And she's very open, very positive into the future. 84 years old now, but totally focused.
She's on top of it.
She's on top of it. And as long as she's doing it and helping, it's fine. She's somehow she She's the pragmatic part. She comes a little more from reality.
Right.
And but she leaves me my space and always said yes.
She understands your anti-reality.
Absolutely. I mean, we have a lot of fights. I scream at her sometimes, but this is love. I mean,
this is tension. This is working forward.
People you really love, you can scream at.
Right.
And
you hope they know that.
Yeah.
Well, they do. Well, that's. I guess that's all the time we have. So I really want to thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you very much.
I think the last thing, I think it's hilarious on your website, the pictures you have of you traveling to your shows.
Oh, yeah.
It's hilarious. I love it.
Thank you very much.
Good.
This is Jan. This was the guy that just entered here.
Yeah.
He's doing the photos of this. And this is you. I love that you see the humor in it. Many people don't see the humor. They think this is just this is so...
This is you taking a step back from all of it and saying, I'm just a guy with his mother. Yeah. Look, we're looking at this city. Look, we're on a train, you know? It's great.
And we look so shitty sometimes, but it has so much love in it.
Right.
And it is a lot of traveling. Art is a travel into the future. So you are traveling.
Represents that too. Yeah.
And you are, of course, sometimes tired and sleeping in between the shows and in between situations. Tomorrow we go back to Hamburg together, and then on the ferry, and then in the train, and then we will talk about the show, what we experienced, what we were eating, which people we met.
Right.
This is super.
Right.
That's wonderful.
Because that's life.
That's life.
Yeah.
And these are the steps in between the spaces of art.
Right.
And also a train is a space of art.
Sure.
If you take it like that.
It's a fantastical object.
It's fantastic.
Jonathan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Jonathan Meese. I'll tell you, if I was half that engaged, I'd be the best used car salesman in Denmark. I swear to you this is true. But in the meantime, we're making art, we're making podcasts, we are keeping the wheels moving. So, like I said, I'm off to Barcelona. I'm showing work there. I'm excited, and I hope it'll be fun as well. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the talk. Thank you for listening today. If you guys have any good advice, I'm looking for advice here. If you guys have any good advice about interstitial music that is available for use, I would love to hear it. Send us an email, holler@undergang.net. If you know about anything out there. And otherwise, just get a hold of us. We're out there. And, keep your fingers crossed for me in Barcelona. Shit, maybe I'll even sell something. All right. I'll catch you guys in 2 weeks. This week's episode brought to you reliably by Undergang Unlimited. Intro and outro music provided by Johnny Ripper. There's a link to Johnny Ripper's excellent music on our About page. Interstitial music once again provided by RC. There's a link to his music on our show notes for this page. Come check us out at undergang.net. We got everything there. Pictures by all the artists, links to our apps, email addresses, Twitter, the whole shebang. Oh, we're on Facebook now too. I almost forgot. Come yell at us at Facebook. Do what you got to do. Help spread the word. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening to the show, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks.